Welcome back to Webzone TV. I'm Gemma Houghton. Today I'm here with Chinmai Sharma, who's the Chief Revenue Officer at Taj Hotels. I'm going to be talking about the luxury travel market. Hi Chinmai, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So, firstly, can you just kind of tell us a bit about what the landscape of luxury travel looks like at the moment and how it's maybe changed in the past few years?
Yeah, I think the future is exciting. I think luxury travel has been focused a lot on experiential travel for the last few years. I think the biggest trend is that people are moving away from hard products and shiny chandeliers, and it's more about experiences and memories. So I think luxury travel is looking good. The good thing about this market is that it's relatively price insensitive. As long as you have a good product and service attribute that you're offering with a good brand, I think it works pretty well.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit more tricky and complicated because now you have to take care of the preferences to the nth level. So that's keeping us, on our toes. But I think the biggest change is that it's not about brand names or, having been there, done that. It's more about new destinations. How do you spend your time? A little bit more responsibility about the environment while still having a luxury experience.
So what do you think now what are the most important things for luxury travelers? What are the kind of key characteristics of this demographic that really stand out?
Yeah, so I think all the fundamentals of basic product and service delivery are a must. You can't compromise on the quality of the bed sheets, the quality of food and beverage, etc. I think what's changing is that the customers have become more discerning because everybody's traveled a lot more. They know what good food and pasta looks like if they've been to the remote corners of Italy. So I think the thing that's changing the fastest is how clear every customer is on what exactly do they want. And I think one big factor is the paucity of time. And everybody wants to maximize that 1 week or 2 week or 3 weeks of downtime that they have, which puts extra pressure on suppliers like us because we have to deliver.
Absolutely.
So taking care of the experiences, getting as much information from our travelers as much as possible on their purpose of visit and how we can customize and curate experiences for them. I think these are some of the things that have changed. And I think the brands who are doing a good job of connecting those services with those needs, I think they're the ones who are standing out.
So what are some of the kind of tools or methods that you can employ as a hotel chain or a hotel to kind of really get into what it is that those customers want and be able to offer them something maybe different to the experience elsewhere? Yeah,
I think in general, the more you know the customer, the better it is, because if they have history with you, then you know what they like to spend on, what their purchase behavior is, what their likes and dislikes are. So I think the more you get engaged with your target audience, the better the experience can get. And thankfully, the technology is evolving very fast, so you can do a lot of stuff online and on your website. So even hotel companies like us, for example, not only do we continue to tweak the experiences at the location level based on their feedback and based on what they've given us in the past, but also in the online experience, we've started to change how we customize the website. So if you, for example, typically like a 5-star resort destination every winters, then we'll customize offers for you based on your purchase patterns. So I think this whole element of customization, matching the preferences and needs, and then obviously delivering above and beyond a regular experience is standing out.
And personalisation is a challenge because, of course, like you say, it's you really getting into the detail of each person, and also there's a lot of ways that it can kind of go wrong, and you can go the other too far the other way, or you can miss the mark and really put the customer off. So how do you kind of make sure that you're getting the most relevant experience for each of those users? Yeah,
I think having direct access to the customer database is very important, which is why we also focus on our direct channels. So we ensure that if anybody comes to our website or calls our contact center, we continue to build their profile with as much information that we can. And then now we've given tools to our on-site staff as well. And if they know that normally you like burgers without lettuce, that information actually gets into the system. So that next time you travel within our network anywhere, they already know that about you. So I think technology is becoming a big part of it. I think what we've noticed is that the end consumers also have become more open about sharing their needs and likes and dislikes. So it's a little bit of an anomaly because on one side we're talking about data protection and privacy laws, and GDPR is coming in the UK and it's going to upset the Apple cart. But at the same time, avid travelers are not that much concerned, because they feel that if you can make my life simpler for the amount of time I have, I am happy to tell you what I like, don't like, and where I hang out.
So it's striking the balance between making sure you use what they give them in an effective way, that you don't abuse any of that information, and if you're giving them a better experience as a result, they're not really going to mind.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a lot about permission marketing and ensuring that they know what data we're collecting and how we're using it. Luckily, a lot of tools are available, and a lot of information about the guests and the members is already available on a public forum, and you can bring all that together and really create what we call the golden profile, or the customer 360 view. So we know exactly what they do in professional life, personal life, and we can deliver better experiences.
And then you mentioned about focusing on direct channels, and that's obviously something that many hotel brands struggle with. The fact that the OTA market has grown so much, and that many people will just go to one of those sites to make their bookings. What do you do to try and move away from that and bring people in directly to your brand and cut out that OTA middleman?
Yeah, so I think our end goal is not to really cut out the OTAs, because I think the fact that consumer is actually booking our brand, irrespective of what channel they book, I think that part is more important, because luckily they could have found something else. Obviously, we're putting a lot of focus on direct channels, because for all the right reasons. We need direct access to the consumer, we need to know them better. You can do CRM and loyalty database marketing, and the cost of distribution also, by the way, is quite cheaper if you build on your direct channels. But still, at the same time, I think the online travel agencies and the intermediaries, they bring you incremental business from different parts of the world where you don't have your own marketing reach. And we've done a lot of analysis to see that it's a very good customer acquisition tool as well, because a lot of these customers actually come and stay with us for the first time, and they might be more loyal to an OTA, but at least they're trying out our product. And over a period of time, I think our loyal customers have understood that if they continue to book with us directly, the overall experience is a lot better, because we already know their preferences. The contact center gives them a more personalized approach. The whole service delivery becomes a lot more easier.
So it's almost there that the OTA can be the starting point to introduce them to the brand, but then you can do the rest by making them become, building that loyalty and making them want to come back.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think if even if half the people from the OTAs come back and book with us directly, I mean that's a great economic model.
And of course, once they've been to stay, you can start to contact them directly, and you build up that profile on them anyway.
Exactly. And I think for the end customer, the OTAs will always be a big aggregator, because we'll never have 4 million rooms and 3,500 countries.
And people like choice. People like to feel like they can check out the options.
Yes, and a lot of times the purpose of visit is very different. Sometimes it's a business travel on a Monday night where the customer really doesn't mind where they stay. They just want to be close to their place of work. And they become more discerning when they're traveling with family and they have more needs.
And it's their personal time.
So I think the same traveler takes on different personas.
Obviously, the travel industry, hotels, it's very international. You've got people coming from very many different markets, which means you need to provide a good experience in that, and especially in luxury, perhaps the expectation of a more localized experience would be even higher. How do you manage that huge challenge of, when you're in so many markets, of creating that local experience? Yeah,
so that's a good, it's both a challenge and an opportunity. I think we are obviously learning from the likes of Airbnb, who talk about living like a local. I think coming back to that point about experiences, everybody doesn't want a cookie cutter experience, and they're not traveling to a hotel just to stay in a hotel, because they could stay with X brand anywhere. They really have to live that destination. So as hoteliers, I think we're doing a lot of things. One is that as a company, Taj has been there for more than 100 years, so we've been in a lot of our destinations for a long time. So we feel as if we know the destination really, really well. And based on the customer preferences that we collect, we can actually curate those experiences for them in a way that other providers might not be able to do. So it's all about customization and bringing out the best of the destination that you operate in. And since we've been in markets for a long time, I think we can provide access to places which are not available otherwise, and that becomes a key differentiator. I think one more thing that we're doing for international markets is we have also launched multilingual websites, just so that we can converse with them in their languages that they prefer. And we're also working on payment integration, so that if you're coming from France or Germany or China, you can see our content in your own language, which you're more comfortable with. And by the way, you can also pay in your own choice of payment options. So these kind of things are just facilitating more and more travel coming to us. And then, the proof of the pudding is that if you deliver good experiences and they come back to you, that means, the formula is working.
Yeah, absolutely. And online reviews, feedback, word of mouth is something that, again, is very important in travel. People do pay attention to those, or at least some do. Is that the case in the luxury market? Is kind of online reviews or peer reviews, is that something that matters or not so much?
I think increasingly so.
Yeah.
I think earlier the perception was that maybe the luxury traveler is not really worried about what 3,000 random people are saying.
Yeah.
But I think more and more the system is becoming a little bit more mature, and all organizations have put in lot of measures to ensure that the reviews are authentic.
Yeah.
So in the luxury segment, what we've seen is that the word of mouth and people who actually know each other, I mean, that advice is far more valuable than, let's say, reading reviews. But the sheer volume of authentic reviews is on the rise, and that really is helping bias. So it's definitely one of the decision factors, that's for sure. And I would still rank it within the top 5 criteria while the decision factor is being made, apart from pricing and experiences and location, etc. Even in the luxury segments.
Yeah, so working with your customers to build that loyalty, to encourage them to talk favorably about your brand is obviously something that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. So our whole investment in the digital platform is basically to start capturing and engaging with our customer right from the phase of when they start dreaming, when they book, when they stay with us, and post-stay, when they talk about us on social media. So we try to stay in touch with them throughout. And then one more thing that the industry is doing relatively well, and which we have also been doing for some time, is just be open and authentic about your product, your services. And we, for example, provide unbiased guest reviews on our own website. And we don't measure that, or we don't alter that in any way. It's exactly the one that come from TripAdvisor or from customers who have actually stayed with us. And our overall thought process is that they'll find about the product and services and the location in any case. So we don't want to fool them. We just want to give them as much information as they can, as they want on our sites, and then they can decide where to book. Yeah,
and it's also about making sure you get the right people to stay, because if you present yourselves authentically, then some people might say, actually, I don't want that, but they're probably not the right target audience anyway.
Yeah, so that's a good point. I think, if you promise and you deliver on the same lines, then I think that works well.
Yeah, absolutely. So would you have any final tips or final insights into what you think are the key things, the most important things to be thinking about in 2018 for luxury travel brands?
Yeah, I think the things that are changing really fast, and we've already started seeing, is that it's not so much about hardware, it's more about software, it's more about experiences, it's not so much about brands and the flashy watches or the luxury cars. I think the focus on doing the right thing for the environment, or what we call responsible luxury, I think that's coming up. And I think within the luxury segment, the younger audience is definitely much more aware of the environment and doing the right thing for the community. So I think as luxury providers, we have to be conscious of not only doing the right thing, but also what are the requirements of the new age traveler. So apart from delivering product and service consistently, I think every provider has to now think of the next level of how do we differentiate ourselves, how do we create those experiences and unforgettable memories, while doing the right thing and meeting those expectations.
And creating a brand that people like and want to be associated with.
Yeah. So branding is extremely important, because there's no dearth of service providers, and I think the brands that stand out are the ones that communicate, they talk the right things, and they also deliver on the promises.
It sounds like you're doing a lot of that. So thank you very much for sharing those insights. It was great to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.